Hello folks and welcome to Formula One Paddock Partial Post-Race Edition for the 2018 Italian Grand Prix, where we had an F1 live, which was fun. Ferrari hearts broken. Once again, the Ferrari victory that the Tifosi expects did not arrive, despite a Ferrari lockout on the front row and despite Kimi Räikkönen leading the majority of the 2018 Italian Grand Prix. But no, clever tactics from Mercedes, very clever tactics from Mercedes. Ultimately saw them leave Valtteri Bottas out to act as the perfect wingman for Lewis Hamilton, allowing Kimi Räikkönen to catch up, absolutely paced his tyres, allowing Lewis to catch up, sweep on by and take the victory. Nobody expected that this morning. Literally nobody. We saw Aldo Costa on F1 Live. He's the only member of Mercedes that remembered to bring his race-winning shirt with him this morning. He was the only one, because they didn't expect they were going to win this one. That is how much of a shock it is. Yeah, that's it. Lewis Hamilton is your winner here in Italy. Kimi Räikkönen came home second. Max Verstappen third on the road, but again in trouble for his defensive technique. A defensive technique that saw him make contact with Valtteri Bottas, get a 5-second penalty for the pleasure of doing so, and ultimately finish all the way down in 5th place. Well, he didn't, third on the road, but with the 5-second penalty, 5th. We haven't talked about Seb. Seb should have featured today, but didn't. An incident which the paddock, pretty much to a man or woman, decides or agrees was Sebastian's fault. We'll talk to him in a little bit. Anyway, here's your top three. Hamilton delighted. Kimi obviously deflated. And Valtteri Bottas, an unexpected third on a day that Mercedes will long remember as the day they won a race that nobody else thought they would.
I never give up. And today was definitely... There was never a moment that I was going to give up today. Especially with all the booing and all the things that are happening around and this fight for this championship, there was no way I was going to go out without a fight. And there wasn't a second that I had any negative thoughts. There was just always forwards. And I just was not going to stop till I got it.
And we could see that on the track. You were not letting that Ferrari win that race.
I was doing everything in my ability to stay within 1 second but not get too close to them, damage my tyres. And just time it right, and there was a few key moments which I was then able to deploy and really make it stick. And for example, the last one, I was really able to make that one stick.
And the tyre management as well was incredible. We could see Kimi's blistering, and yours were much better.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately that's how you drive it. You know, the Lesmos are really important corners to saving the tyres, and the last corner particularly, Kimi was not saving it all through there. He was carrying a lot of speed and sliding the car, and that kills the tires. And I was able to sit back. But also when you're in the tow, you have the bit that you lose from not going too quick into the corner, you can catch up down the straight. So he would pull away initially, and then I could catch him. So I was just in the fortunate position. Actually, it wasn't too bad being behind. And yes, I mean, he damaged his tires behind Valtteri, which Valtteri did an exceptional job of keeping him behind. So,
did it come down in the end to the tyre management and the blistering on your tyres that Lewis managed to get by?
Yeah, I'm sure if our tyres stayed together better, I mean, it was very difficult to overtake, but the rear tyres just gave up in the end, so obviously not much on that point we could have any more done, but unfortunate thing, at least we kept the second place, but not exactly what we wanted.
I know it's not a win, but you have to be happy with the amount of defending you did and the fact that it's more points for Ferrari and it is a podium for you.
Yeah, this is the best that we got today, you know. Obviously you always want the maximum, but this it didn't happen. We did all that we could. We got past earlier, we got back, and this is how it played out in the end. So it could be a little bit better, but I cannot really complain too much.
Let's talk about that 5-second penalty for Verstappen, though. Did he deserve it?
Sure he did. You know, I think there's a very simple rule in the book which says that once you're defending on the inside, if you choose the line, you need to leave cars width on the outside, and he didn't. So I think it's very clear. And even before that, he went straight from the chicane to protect. So I think the penalty was fair enough.
Let's talk about the rest of your race. Fantastic defending, and it was a race that we could barely keep up with. How was it from you?
Yeah, for me actually quite straightforward. Once what happened at the beginning with Sebastian, I knew that there will be a great chance for me to be on the podium. My pace was still strong, but at the end of my very long first stint, so that's why we chose to keep me on the track. At the same time, it would benefit Lewis to try and win the race. But even for me, it was good in the end to be on the fresh tyre, which then allowed me to attack for Verstappen.
So we've spoken to the top three, now to Sebastian Vettel. He was second coming out of the first couple of corners, and then the moment that really defined the race. Raikkonen in the middle of the track, going to the second chicane. Seb went left, I think having a little look up the inside of his teammate, but realised he wasn't anywhere near close enough to make the move. By the time he moved back to the middle of the track behind Kimi, Lewis had already taken the advantage to go right and sweep around the outside. They went into the chicane together, and pretty much everyone, as I said in the intro, agrees Hamilton gave all the room that he could. Around he goes. Seb, just a little bit too much momentum in, understeered a little bit, boom, contact. Seb's turned around, and that's race pretty much done. Seb had to come in, obviously change his front wing, change the tyres, ended up having 2 pit stops for the day, and it was damage limitation for him. So to come home fourth, big result, big success, but on a day when Ferrari should have won, understandably disappointing.
Well, I mean, I tried to pass Kimi down the inside, but then he opened the brakes, which is fair enough, and I couldn't really go any deeper without taking some silly risks, so I avoided that and tried to just stay behind him and attack him in the next corner. Obviously, I guess Lewis saw his chance, but it didn't leave me any room, so I got spun around and couldn't avoid what happened. I could have been the other way, which would have been nicer for us, but wasn't. That way, obviously, I was facing the wrong way, and yeah, I think from there we did well to come back, given the damage that we had. I was quite surprised when I got out of the car how bad it was. It didn't feel right, but then I tried to just focus. Given how bad it was, I think the pace was actually quite good, so it could have been a different race.
So you literally drove it without knowing how much damage there was, but you knew there was damage. Was that quite even more difficult to make the race, the heroics that you had?
Well, for sure. Obviously, the car wasn't very nice to drive, but I sort of figured it out, and I guess I did. I mean, what's the option? To park the car? Not really. I think you always run until the thing stops. So obviously, the team saw more how bad the damage was when I came in for nose change. And I asked, and they said, yeah, we can see it, but then why keep asking what exactly and what do you see? Because pointless. I need to drive the thing as fast as possible to get back. So yeah, I did that, and obviously fourth I think is a good result with a penalty for Max. I don't know why he got a penalty, but anyways, helped us in the end. Yeah, so I think it could have been a lot worse given where how things were looking when everybody was coming towards me and after 4 corners.
So that was your top 4. Now to the guy who finished third on the road but ultimately finished 5th in the standings, Max Verstappen. Not very happy on the radio. Oh, there's Christian. Christian, can we grab you quickly a little bit? Max, as we're about to hear, folks, not happy with, as he's put it, sort of the state of the sport and that it's not fair, we're not allowing racing. How do you view the... oh, there we go. There goes Seb. How do you view the incident with Valtteri?
Look, it's one of those things. As soon as it went to the stewards, you're up to their discretion. And if we'd have been Bottas, we'd have been arguing the same thing. So, if Max had given him an inch more...
And it was an inch, wasn't it, pretty much?
It was so close. I guess what's frustrating is when you look at other incidents, we've just seen a Force India or whatever they're called these days, and a Haas, knocking each other, pushing off the circuit, doesn't even get reported to the stewards. So biggest thing you look for is consistency. But yeah, one of those things. What's annoying is that Max really drove the wheels off the car today. Would have been fantastic to see him up there on the podium, and for the sake of an inch and a half or so, that's we're P5. So yeah, brush ourselves down and off to Singapore.
See you there. Thanks, Christian. As we're about to hear then, so Max Verstappen coming for you now. Not very happy at the end of the race. Christian has explained why. There was the contact between Max and Valtteri Bottas down into the first chicane. Happened a couple of times, but on the moment that has got the stewards talking, got everybody else talking, Max didn't seem to give Valtteri enough space, was handed a 5-second penalty after the fact, which saw him drop from 3rd to 5th. Here is the Dutchman.
I'm there to race. I'm not there to cruise home in 5th, because that's where our package at the moment belongs. But we were in 3rd, and I would always try to give everything I have within myself to try and defend that position. And I think I did it in a fair way. I gave him space on the left, but then we clipped wheels, and I got a penalty for that. But I think they should let us race, and a bit of wheel banging I don't think is a big problem.
And to effectively lose a podium that you had defended incredibly hard throughout the whole race for.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, you always have to look at the positives, and that's that the car is working well. Losing a podium at the end of the day is not a big deal, because at the end of the day, I think the most important is anyway winning a race. So looking forward to Singapore, because with the car performance today, I think that should be a very good weekend for us.
Next over the line was Romain Grosjean for Haas. However, breaking news just in, which will not be breaking by the time you see this, as it will probably have been all sorted out. However, Renault have confirmed that they have protested the Haas of Romain Grosjean. So we wait to see what the stewards say. Been a while since we've had a post-race protest. And interesting that it comes right here and now. Obviously, Renault and Haas are locked in the fight for 4th in the Constructors' Championship, a fight that Force India was involved in until they had all their points taken from them, in essentially becoming a new team in Spa. So let's talk to the drivers that came home 6th and 7th. No, 7th and 8th. It might be 6th and 7th if Grosjean gets booted out. 7th and 8th, Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. Another double point score for Force India. That's 2 in a row for their 2 new races as a new team. Places them solidly into 8th place in the Constructors' Championship. Now incredibly close to 7th. And on F1 Live, we spoke to Otmar Safnauer, who believes they can beat McLaren and get to 6th place in the Constructors' Championship by the end of the year, which is amazing. So let's talk to the Force India drivers, and hopefully by the end of recording this, we might have some idea about what's going on with the Haas car of Romain Grosjean.
You've got a big smile on your face. It was a chaotic race for lots, but there were some great battles for you guys.
Yeah, it was a good race for us. I had a really good start, got squeezed though in the grass, so I had to give up again the position. And then from down we had good pace with the car, so I managed to pass Sainz. And then it was all about keeping those tires alive, which I did. I had one shot on Romain, but not enough. And I think still today is a great result, and we are pleased with it.
And you had a lot of pressure coming from behind from your teammates. So how did you manage to keep your tires clean and ready to go and on the track?
No, it was okay. We were stuck behind Romain both. We were both quicker, but hard to pass. So that's why we got close in the end. But no trouble.
More points though.
More points. Great to do that before flyways.
Theoretically, we are P4 in the championship now, so it just shows how strong the team is. We're catching up, and now the last part of the season is getting very, very busy. So we're looking forward to do strong outings and hopefully be strong in Singapore.
Difficult day down at Renault. Nico Hülkenberg starting from the back of the grid once again. Didn't have an enjoyable race really at all, pitting at the end of the first lap, as did Ricciardo, as did Vettel, as did so many people. Carlos Sainz, though, brought the car home in the points in 9th place. Not the race weekend they would have wanted. As we've said, they have taken Haas to the stewards. But let's hear from Carlos Sainz right now at the end of the race in which he finished in 9th.
It's been a positive weekend for the team, for myself. I think we were not expecting to be in Q3 and on the points, so to come out with that result is definitely a good one. Obviously, as a driver, you don't like it, when they pass you on the straight, like if you were not there. But it's the situation at the moment. We need to keep pushing, as there are going to be some tracks coming to us that should be a bit better.
P10 today for Lance Stroll. Had a great qualifying performance to put that Williams up there in the top 10 and brought it home with points. Sergei Sorokin desperately unlucky to not get points coming home in P11, but a much better day all round for Williams, and I think a weekend which overall they can be really proud of.
Yeah, the smile's only going to get bigger for the rest of the day. No, it was a great race, great weekend. Yesterday we nailed it, and today we nailed it. Yeah, it looked pretty straightforward. Started 10th, finished 10th, but there's a lot more to it. You know, we've been really struggling all year, and we've had a tough run, but it feels really good to be back in the points, and the team deserves it. And we definitely have to celebrate in style tonight.
A difficult weekend for McLaren. Fernando Alonso out early in the race. Stoffel van Dorn coming home outside of the points. Not many races left now for Fernando Alonso to try and claw something back, and one wonders how long Stoffel van Dorn has left in Formula One. Really nothing to do with him. Just doesn't have the car at his disposal to be able to show the talent that he has. A difficult afternoon in Monza for Stoffel.
I think a pretty good performance actually today, considering where we were in practice. We were not really able to do anything, and we made a good step on Saturday. And I think today again we managed to be in front of a couple of cars we were maybe not expecting to be in front of, like the Toro Rosso of Pierre, Nico's Renault as well. We stopped early and managed to do the undercut. So I think the pace in the race was pretty good, and yeah, I think more or less the maximum possible.
Like you said, great pace in the race. Is there anything that you can contribute that to?
I think it's been like this all season really, so we don't really know why exactly that is the case, but we'll see. We knew that Spa and Monza was going to be difficult. I think Monza was maybe a bit better than we were expecting. Next is Singapore, and hopefully we return to a little bit better performance there.
A really disappointing home Grand Prix for Sauber. Home Grand Prix because they're obviously Alfa Romeo now. They had appeared to have good top 10 pace. Charles Leclerc certainly looking that way going into qualifying. Ultimately, that intense, really close, really tight qualifying session caught them out and left them way further down the order than they'd expected to be. And in the race itself today, never had the pace really to compete. Both Charles Leclerc and Marcus Ericsson having a pretty miserable afternoon. Gutting for Marcus Ericsson on his birthday.
Yeah, it was not a very happy birthday, to be honest. It was quite a tough race. I did a really good start, and I was alongside Toro Rosso ahead of me, but I don't know if he got some traffic instead of him, so I just got touched when I was passing him, and that caused a puncture on the left rear. And then from then on, we had the box, and I don't know if we picked up some damage on the floor as well from the debris, and then it was just a difficult race from that point, and trying to make up ground, but not a good race.
Now, Pierre Gasly surprised everybody with a phenomenal qualifying performance, but it was not to be for the Toro Rosso team here in Monza. Brendan Hartley out before he'd even reached the first corner, and Gasly finishing way outside of the points. What had looked so promising, ultimately ending with nothing.
It was really tricky, and not the Sunday we wanted and we wished, because got stuck a bit in the first lap, lost 2 places. And then after that I was battling with Fernando. We touched in turn 1 and damaged my floor. It pushed me a bit off track, and I had to go over the curb. So after that the car was completely damaged, and I was sliding until the end of the race. So I tried to do the maximum from the inside of the car, but it was in the end really difficult Sunday, and with the damage we didn't have any pace.
How do you even manage that in the car and carry on going?
Honestly, it's you get mad in these kind of days where you after the incident the car is damaged, and the best thing you can do is to keep pushing until the end. But from left to right corners the balance was different. The car was just sliding everywhere, and there is nothing you can do, only pushing until the end. But we knew in normal conditions will be difficult, but with these damages was even worse.
And so to Haas, we might as well hear from Romain Grosjean and probably a bit from Kevin Magnussen as well. Kevin, actually, after qualifying, that would have been the great interview to play you, was very vocal about Fernando Alonso, said he couldn't wait for him to retire, thinks he's a god. Kevin coming out swinging. Didn't have a very happy day today. Romain Grosjean had a better day coming home in the points, but as we've already said, there is a question mark over whether that car will be deemed to be legal or not. No idea why. KC, do you know what's going on with the whole Renault Haas thing?
No, it's really odd.
Odd, isn't it? We're filming. Is that okay?
Oh, is this on? Hi.
Yeah. Hi, it's on. Hi.
Who are we talking to?
The world.
The world.
The internet.
The internet.
Indeed.
The interwebs.
Indeed.
No, I don't know. To be honest, there's Peter Kroll.
What are they protesting you about?
It's just a little technical matter.
A little technical matter.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're not too worried.
Okay, cool.
Nuts and bolts, Pete.
We're good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that an official we're good?
All right, cheers.
Okay. No, I don't think it's an official we're good, but
No. Do you think it could be the listed parts thing? It's a bit late in the season for that, isn't it?
we're just guessing now. This is like
We are
this is
guessing,
like
aren't we?
silly
We should
season,
stop,
isn't
we
it?
should
Who's
stop.
going to be driving there next year, Karen?
don't
Let's guess on that one as well. Thanks, mate. Anyway,
Bye.
cheers, mate. Yes, no idea. Here's Kev. Here's Roman. No idea.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to be again in the points and having that good series, which I'm enjoying. Really good race, tough. The force, were faster definitely today, quite a bit, and I had to push the car very hard to keep them behind. So very happy with that. Very happy with the team progress, and I think we moved to 4th place in the constructor championship if my calculation is good. So that's pretty amazing.
It was a pretty long race for us today, and we had some damage on the rear tire after the first lap, and had to box for medium, and just went nowhere from there. So our race ended on lap 1.
Do you think you got the best out of it after you did have to go all the way to the back?
I don't know. I mean, we were doing the whole race on one set of tires, medium tires, the slowest. So was never really gonna be, back in the race.
So that is your lot from Paddock Pass on a day when, as we said, everyone expected Ferrari to win, and ultimately they didn't. Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes played the game perfectly. And I think, having heard from Max and Christian and what happened there between Max and Valtteri, and then when you look at the fight between Hamilton and Raikkonen, and it's been said, not by me, but by other people earlier, you've got a difference there between two world champions fighting over the track and over the win and giving each other racing room. And then with Max, and similarly also with Sebastian, this was something that Nico Rosberg said on F1 Live, making the mistakes, not giving the racing room, and by not giving the racing room, ultimately making the mistakes that will lead them to lose not just race position, not just a win, but potentially championships as well. Anyway, it's been a fascinating day here, as we heard from Pete Kroller down there at Haas. Seems there's not too much to worry about, as we understand it. It's something to do with the floor, but by the time this is up online, there will, I'm sure, be a decision from the stewards on whether that Haas remains legal or not, and whether Romain Grosjean gets to keep his place. Keep your eyes peeled. F1.com, of course, for all the news on that. That's your lot from Monza. See you in Singapore in 2 weeks.